Frenchman's rescue in Chiang Mai highlights Thailand as a caring alternative to nursing homes. A UK man who moved to Thailand when his wife was first diagnosed with oncoming Alzheimer's speaks positively about the kingdom, which still offers a life in paradise to many elderly foreigners with income who seek to retire, in stark comparison to life in a nursing home, where many residents spend 23 hours locked in a room on a daily basis. An elderly French man was rescued by local volunteers and the Royal Thai Police last Friday, after he had gone missing for over 24 hours. The foreign retiree, living in Thailand, it was revealed, suffers from Alzheimer's, which played a part in his misadventure. The story is not unusual. It highlights the growing number of Western retirees living in Thailand with dementia, and how the kingdom has become a hub for Western nationals and their families seeking an alternative to the nursing home care sector in Western countries, where many residents receive a paucity of care in drab and overcrowded conditions. 72-year-old Jacques Morisseau is reunited with his Thai wife in the Doi Thao district of Chiang Mai on Friday after emerging from a local hospital, where he was subjected to a checkup. The elderly expat, who suffers from Alzheimer's, had set off on Thursday morning to visit the consulate in the center of Chiang Mai. Police say he became disoriented on his way in the Hangdong district, and was found the next day at a deserted hilltop temple in Doi Thao, over 100 kilometers away. A 72-year-old French national was found alive and well by a team of police officers, volunteers and local officials on Friday last, after he was reported missing by his Thai wife. Jacques Morisseau, who suffers from Alzheimer's disease, is understood to have lost his way after visiting the French consulate in Chiang Mai to submit official documents early on Thursday. Tearful reunion between Frenchman and Thai wife at a medical facility in Chiang Mai's Doi Thao district. Police Lieutenant Colonel Mokara, an inspector with the Chiang Mai Tourist Police, briefed the press after a tearful reunion occurred between Mr. Morisseau and his Thai spouse at a local medical facility. The Frenchman had left his home on Thursday morning, but appears to have lost his way home after visiting the consulate in the center of Chiang Mai, when he became disorientated on the road in the Hangdong district, to the south of the city. It appears the Frenchman ended further south in the Doi Thao district of the province. Police have explained that they believed the man traveled 100 kilometers away from the area where he lived before his pickup got stuck in a forested area near Doi Thao Lake. Police alerted on Friday after he was missing for 24 hours, found him 100 kilometers away at a remote mountaintop temple after his car got stuck in a forested area on Thursday afternoon. His wife and other relatives found they could not make contact with Mr. Morisseau. They decided to alert the police on Friday afternoon, at 12:30 p.m. after he had still failed to return home at that point. The police assembled an experienced team of officers and local leaders in the province to launch a search for the elderly and vulnerable man. He was found at a deserted temple on a hilltop in Doi Thao later in the day. Apart from appearing extremely tired and exhausted, the foreigner did not appear to be injured, but was taken to Doi Thao Hospital for a checkup, where was reunited with his wife and family. Police had been led to Doi Thao after they detected the last ping from the Frenchman's smartphone in that area. The temple where he was found, Wat Phrathot Chom Zoan, is on a route approximately 1 hour from the main road. Mr. Morisseau explained to the police how he had lost his way and thanked them for coming to his rescue, as well as the many local people who took part in the successful operation. Police Lieutenant Colonel Mokara disclosed that the Frenchman has lived in Thailand's picturesque northern province for 10 years with his Thai wife. Such rescue operations not uncommon in Thailand. Such rescue operations have become quite common in recent years across Thailand, due to the kingdom's growing elderly population of Western men. Thailand, and particularly Chiang Mai, is a popular area for elderly foreigners seeking to retire. This is especially so for people who need Alzheimer's care. The prevalence of the disease in Western countries, and the spiraling cost of nursing home care has led many Western families and individuals to choose Thailand as a very attractive option for elderly people seeking an enhanced mode of living and superior care. The disease is prevalent in adults over 60 years of age, with a worldwide figure of 3.9%, which increases to 5.6% in Western Europe and 6.4% in North America. Prior to the endemic, explosive growth in elderly foreigners moving to Thailand with dementia. Prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, there was an explosive growth in Western people migrating to Thailand with the condition and other forms of dementia, seeking better and more moderately priced care in Thai nursing homes, and more particularly in Chiang Mai. Thailand already has a long history of medical tourism, and it's now setting itself up as an international hub for dementia care, said Dr. Caleb Johnston of Newcastle University to the UK's Daily Telegraph before the COVID-19 emergency in 2020, after he had identified the trend and travelled to Thailand to research it. The human geography lecturer, along with Professor Geraldine Platt, also working with Newcastle University, had just spent 9 weeks in Thailand interviewing UK nationals with dementia-related illnesses and their families who had moved to northern Thailand seeking care and a better lifestyle. Moved to Thailand for better care, life quality and lower costs than the UK, where 850,000 suffer from dementia-related illness. In the US, it's 5.8 million. They had moved to Thailand for the lower cost structure in the kingdom and the higher standards of care. In comparison, UK care facilities have the higher ratio of patients to staff, as high as 6:1, with over 120,000 job vacancies at any time in the sector, aggravating the situation as the already overburdened industry struggles to find staff. There are reported to be over 850,000 people in the United Kingdom alone suffering from dementia, with many needing care in expensive nursing homes and facilities. The number in the United States is 5.8 million, with 97% of these over 65 years of age. Growing emergency in Western countries. This growing emergency in Western countries could mean more people migrating to Thailand, although the kingdom itself is also beginning to suffer from an aging crisis of its own, which is somewhat offset by the country's unique culture, which relies less on institutional care and a more respectful attitude towards the elderly. Cabinet in pension move. As the number of working Thais to over 60s is set to halve in 20 years, there aren't yet any official numbers as to how many people are moving out to Thailand to receive care, explained Dr. Johnston. In the UK, relative to the total number of people living with dementia, it is a low number. But with the number of people with dementia set to increase, and the cost of looking after them also getting higher, it is likely to be an option that more and more people consider. The movement to Thailand by retirees is not confined to those seeking treatment in nursing homes, although it sometimes becomes an option at a later stage for people suffering from dementia. Thailand, over the past 6 decades, has emerged as a paradise retirement option for retirees with income. Over the last 60 years, Thailand has been a favored retirement destination, something that has grown exponentially in the last 2 decades due to the internet and a more comprehensive flight network. In 2010, the Finnish government even proposed a scheme to build and subsidize homes in Thailand for its retirees, and provided information suggesting that the cost of housing its elderly in Thailand, on a daily basis, would be only 32% of the comparable cost in Finland. Many older people, on first moving to Thailand, describe their experience as living in paradise when writing home on social media. So, for example, says 71-year-old Peter Bowen, who moved to live by the beach in Phuket in 2009 with an income of $2,500 a month on what he considered to be declining employment opportunities. "My adult children had left, and I wasn't in a relationship," he explained in 2021. "I'd decided to throw the dice." UK resort operator opened a care home in Chiang Mai in 2014 after becoming disillusioned with nursing homes at home and the care offered to his mother in 2009. Also, Peter Brown, a UK businessman, moved to Chiang Mai to open a 4-holiday star resort. 5 years later, in 2014, he established a care resort for the elderly after he found he was unhappy with the care being offered by residential nursing homes to his mother living in the United Kingdom. "I don't believe there are any relatives in the world who want to export their mother and father to a different country," he disclosed. "What they want is care for their mother and father that they are entitled to, and unfortunately, their local city is incapable of giving them." Mr. Brown believes that the modern Western lifestyle and culture is unconducive to the treatment and care of dementia sufferers. He believes that the more relaxed lifestyle in Thailand, Lower cost of living and family-centered culture is particularly suited to caring for the elderly in their retirement years, and, even more so, for those with conditions such as Alzheimer's. He said the alternative was letting a loved one spend 23 hours locked away in a room daily compared to a superior experience in Thailand, which many UK people are beginning to explore. Pandemic disrupted, and even reversed the trend. The attraction of Thailand as a care centre for elderly people with dementia has, of course, been disrupted and in some instances, reversed by the pandemic over the last 2 years or so. There have also been real problems with unintended consequences caused by changes to immigration regulations as authorities in the kingdom have attempted to regularize the large immigrant Western community that has built up in Thailand over the decades. Thai authorities still advertise the kingdom to prospective retirees, even as regulations are being tightened due to the growth of the expat population. While Thai authorities have been anxious to assert that government policy still favors the trend and have moved to correct unintended problems, there have been high-profile cases where foreigners have been forced to move elderly relatives to the Philippines where the rules are more flexible. In addition, there has been a rise in the cost of living in Thailand, but this is muted by the fact that inflationary pressures in the kingdom have been somewhat less than those seen over the last few months in Western countries. Wealthy foreigners to own small landholdings associated with homes here agreed in principle. Thailand is currently involved in a push to attract high-net-worth foreign residents including retirees with a target to have 1 million wealthy foreigners living in the kingdom by 2027 contributing over 10% of the country's GDP, quite apart from tourism. UK man who moved to Thailand in 2016 when his wife was diagnosed with the onset Alzheimer speaks very warmly of the kingdom and its caring people. Alan Sims, from the south of England, had been to Thailand years before with his wife on holidays, but in 2016 the couple moved to the country to live permanently after doctors confirmed that she had begun to develop Alzheimer's. The couple first settled in Koh Samui and lived happily in a 4-star hotel. When, subsequently, his wife's condition worsened, with the help of his daughter, he found a care home in Chiang Mai. He speaks movingly about the care and respect shown to his wife and his family in Thailand. "I'm so impressed. My wife needs someone with her 24/7. When I get overwhelmed and my daughter takes me away for a break, a carer doesn't just care for my wife but shares the bed with her," he says, explaining that his wife has a problem where she gets up and walks about. "If I was in the UK, we might get a carer for 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening, or some ridiculous thing. I despair about the care in the UK.